12,000 meters beneath the ocean's surface. Down here, direction stops mattering. Up and down blur into the same endless dark. There is no horizon, no light, no reference for where anything begins or ends. Signals sent into this depth are supposed to vanish, absorbed, scattered, lost to a world that does not return anything. Nothing should come back, nothing should answer, and yet, something does. Welcome to Poseidon's Depths, where ancient ocean legends meet modern scientific discovery. Today, we descend once again into Earth's last great frontier, but this time, something in the deep is no longer just being observed, it is responding. Inside a deep-sea submersible, the only light comes from dim instrument panels flickering softly against the darkness. The steady hum of life support systems fills the confined space, interrupted only by a repeating signal pulsing across a monitor. At first, it is consistent, predictable. Then it changes. A crew member adjusts a control slightly, barely moving the joystick. The signal shifts in response. Another small movement. Again, the waveform mirrors it perfectly, instantly. The cabin falls silent. One voice, barely above a whisper, breaks through the tension. I didn't touch anything. The signal pulses again, sharper now, closer, almost deliberate. Another whisper follows. It's responding. The sub steadily decreases as the moment passes, returning to routine operations. Outside, the abyss stretches endlessly in every direction, black, still, and seemingly empty. No currents disturb the water. No visible life moves through the darkness. Inside, the crew regains composure. Instruments are checked and recalibrated. Readings come back normal. Pressure is stable. Temperature is unchanged. Every measurable parameter confirms what they expect to see at this depth. And yet, the signal remains. The crew speaks in calm, professional tones, attempting to rationalize it. It could be interference, perhaps a reflection from the hull, or a minor systems glitch. Adjustments are made. Frequencies are tested. Nothing removes it. By all indicators, the environment is behaving exactly as it should. And still, something feels off. The signal pulses again, steady, persistent, and unmistakably present. To isolate the anomaly, the crew begins controlled testing. A sonar pulse is sent into the darkness. The response comes immediately. Not delayed, not distorted. Perfect. They send another. This time, the return signal arrives faster, cleaner, more precise. The pattern begins to change, aligning itself more closely with the outgoing pulse. Subtle at first, then undeniable. What was assumed to be background noise starts behaving differently. The timing tightens, the structure sharpens. The signal begins to mirror their own emissions with increasing accuracy. At first, the explanation remains grounded. Software error, sensor interference, miscalibration. All plausible, all testable. But each test produces the same result. The signal is adapting. Not randomly, not passively, deliberately. The realization settles slowly, almost reluctantly. If this is not noise, then something is listening. As attention remains fixed on the signal, a new anomaly appears. The external camera scanning the seafloor captures a faint glow at the edge of its range. It is weak, barely distinguishable from the surrounding darkness, but it is there. The sub shifts slightly, adjusting its angle. The glow moves, or something near it does. A shadow detaches from the seabed, subtle enough to question, but consistent enough to notice. It does not move quickly. It does not rush. It simply repositions itself, always just beyond clear visibility. Inside the sub, voices lower. Conversations become shorter, more cautious. The signal continues to pulse, growing clearer, more structured. Patterns begin to form, then dissolve, then reform again, as if reacting to the sub's presence. The anomaly is no longer confined to data. It is physical, and it may be aware. Questions begin to stack faster than answers. Is it biological, mechanical, something unknown? Is it reacting or communicating? The glow flickers again, brief, controlled, and perfectly aligned with the signal. The crew focuses everything on the source. Sonar, cameras, and auxiliary sensors converge on the same point. The sub descends slightly, closing the distance. The glow intensifies. What was once a faint shimmer now reveals form. A shape begins to emerge from the darkness, partially buried in sediment, smooth in outline, unfamiliar in structure. It is not fully visible, but it is enough. The signal spikes, pulsing rapidly. The lights inside the sub flicker in response. Then, a shift. Subtle, but undeniable. The object moves. Sediment lifts around it, drifting upward in slow motion. The glow pulses brighter, synchronized with the signal, as if responding to the sub's proximity. The realization is immediate. This is not a fixed feature of the environment. It is dynamic, and it is reacting. Just as the crew begins to isolate the object, it withdraws, not drifting away, but sinking. The form recedes into the seafloor, disappearing beneath layers of sediment as if it had never been exposed at all. The glow fades with it, swallowed once more by the surrounding darkness. Visual contact is lost. The camera shows nothing, but the signal remains. Faint now, but still present, still structured, still there. A crew member records the event in measured clinical terms, but the tension beneath the words is impossible to ignore. The log notes the loss of visual confirmation, the persistence of the signal, the absence of any known explanation. Then, a final observation. It's here, and it's aware. Silence follows. The signal pulses once more, and then the darkness returns to stillness. The mystery, however, does not. The deep ocean does not stay silent. It does not ignore what enters its domain. Even where signals should fade into nothing, something returns them. Quietly, deliberately. Patterns form where there should be only noise. Responses appear where there should be only absence. In a place with no voices, something is answering. If nothing is supposed to speak down here, what exactly is responding? Subscribe to Poseidon's Depths and explore Earth's last frontier. Hit the bell to never miss a dive. What secrets will Poseidon's domain reveal next? Join us and find out.